Welcome to UNCAGED, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Raoul Dobal. Hey, Raoul, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you. How are you doing?
I am well. Now, Raoul is the Chief Information Officer and a managing partner at PMG Investment Solutions in Switzerland. We're going to be talking about the lovely world of technology and finance and investments and how all those things come together efficiently, effectively, and perhaps can operate in an accelerated way going forward. But before we get there, Raoul, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Well, I started off doing something which is not really connected to what I'm doing right now, like at least offhand, not connected. I started studying Japanology, media sciences, and philosophy at University of Zurich.
Wow.
I studied also in Tokyo and in London. And basically, I try to explain it because I've always been fascinated by technology. I've been fascinated by culture, and I love science fiction. So Japan comes really close to that because you have those like high-tech thingies, robots, spaceships, all this science fiction stuff. And but still, they are very much based in traditional culture, in set values. And I found this very, very interesting. So this is the origin. Then after doing my PhD, also in media sciences, the topic at that time was with a very new and fresh and unknown, what's the web all about? Nobody knew this at that time. It was a couple of years ago. So like, I think nowadays, it would be a bit different, my findings. I opened up my own company, started together with a friend. And what we started off doing there is digital media relation reputation management.
Oh.
So it was a bit of a different take on just creating websites and doing e-shops and all those things. And then through a client of ours, I started moving slowly into the finance sector, and he asked me then to take on more and more jobs. And at some stage I had to say, listen, this is no longer just like a side job. I need to basically go and start with you and build that particular company then from scratch, at least the operations at that aside from scratch.
Wow. And I mean, it's a great background. You've lived through the digital era, the birth of the digital era.
True.
And now we find ourselves in a different place. So tell me how you're applying all of that knowledge and thinking at PMG Investment Solutions.
Difficult. What I'm trying to do is still come back. I'm fascinated with all the cool new things you can do nowadays, like all AIs, all super cool stuff which is happening, which has been like in the media for the last couple of years. But at the end of the days, it's still, like a business which is very structured, very externally driven, either by the requirements the regulator has, like what do we have to do, what are the processes, how we have to do our business. And also on the other hand, the clients, and the clients, of course, they come up with very creative solutions. So this is basically that you go there and say, listen, you have all those cool new toys there, but again, coming down to the basics, to the people, what we need to provide, what can we provide, and sort of listen to the people, put together the Lego pieces, and in the end, sort of create a way forward where everybody can buy in, where technology can support you, because technology is everywhere in our business. It starts in the morning, and it starts in my car, and it ends up in the meeting room.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about PMG Investment Solutions in general. Tell me the area that you guys focus on.
Well, it's an asset management company. It's a fund management company, and we do business in Switzerland, Luxembourg, and Malta mostly. And therefore, we are highly regulated. We don't do business to clients. Our primary concern is business to business. So we are highly regulated. Our clients are institutional clients with their requirements. And I would say part of it is making decisions of how to invest things. Other part is how to onboard new clients, because they come up with those ideas. And then we have to sort of take them and put them into a shape which is working for them and which has then depends on what kind of legislation you're working in, works for that particular legislations. And then afterwards you have to do the operations for it.
Yeah, it definitely kind of can get complicated quickly, especially in kind of regulated areas, I imagine. And that's really almost all of the financial area has heavy regulations. But, Raoul, when you look out right now, I mean, you've been in the industry for a while. What are you seeing are the key topics that you're coming to grips with, and what are customers kind of most obsessed with?
Difficult to say. What are the key topics which are this year and last year concerning us? I think it's getting more and more complex. As you say, it's the regulation and the due diligence and the legal frameworks are very, very difficult to master. Mm-hmm. They're omnipresent. They're everywhere. Every nook and cranny, everything you turn over is always like due diligence. What have you done? Like, can you document this whole thing? That's on the one side. And on the other side, it's not like a Ford factory where you start on one side and you build up cars step by step. Of course, there are processes involved, mm-hmm. but it's something where you have to be creative. You have to come up with solutions. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, you have a highly structured business. On the other hand, you have to have very creative solutions. Creative solutions require smart people. And I don't want to bog down all those smart people, which we have, with mundane day-to-day tasks. So I think this discrepancy between with repetitive tasks, with doing due diligence things which are, let's say, boring, and on the other hand, having creative solution, that's a difficult kind of playing field on prioritizing your task and where you want to go.
Now, we've lived through this, I'd say, complex moment over the last several years. And, you've been obviously at your business for a while. Tell me a little bit about that ride through the pandemic and how that changed the requirements and needs from a technology perspective for the company.
Well, I think we were in luck because we started just before the pandemic started, or really started to take effect over here. We went mostly cloud at that time. And I think that saved our butt. What it didn't prepare us is the managing side of being offsite, and this continues now into the home office discussion, which is everywhere. How much is too much? What makes sense? But also in different kind of aspects which we didn't think of, like the pressure on people, exchange of information, managing people through Teams, through remote sessions. And to see this as a chance and not as something which is just annoying. So the idea was not to go back into what we have done beforehand, but how can we take our experiences, because there's good stuff there and there's bad stuff there. How can we take those experiences and use it afterwards? And hopefully this is also going to help us now in finding talent, because that is one of the big problems you have nowadays.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one. It certainly has offered a lot more flexibility. I would say that the financial sector in general seems to be one of the sectors that, at least in the US and in the UK, is trying to push people back to more of a traditional working structure. I'd be curious to kind of hear how you guys are tackling that challenge.
Continuing discussions. I think the acceptance is here now that it is here to stay. When you talk to people, when you interview people, it is one of the first questions that come, that they say, listen, how many home office days are you? Are you actually offering home office days? How many home office days are you offering? That's one of the key questions people usually have, which is, to be honest, a bit bewildering, because I always think it depends on kind of the job you're having, what makes most sense in your role. And therefore you should get the tools which you get, and home office might be one of those tools which you need. I think that is a challenge.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that I've been told is, from a infrastructure perspective on the technology side, is managing some of the security compliance issues, getting everyone to manage that on a home network and all of those lovely challenges. It can only be a joy or a real challenge.
But you know what's interesting? Like during the pandemic, all of a sudden, all those banks accepted digital signatures. Now that we don't have a pandemic anymore, all of a sudden, no, we have to handwritten signatures back on again. So there's just like being not a real shift sometimes, but just like a placebo kind of effect. Okay, we have to do it that way, but didn't take really the chance of taking this shift and this possibility. We have seen what technology can give us in the workspace. They just went back to their normal basic before.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you're finding that some folks are really going back to the way that they were doing it before. That's really interesting. I would say that, I say this a lot, and it's probably, maybe I'm being a bit repetitive, but I do think that a lot of the folks that were demanding those signatures to be structured in the old-fashioned way, a lot of those folks during the pandemic got outvoted or outmuscled in a way during the pandemic. And I'm hoping that progressive companies continue on this pathway, because, man, the idea that we wouldn't continue with electronic signatures, that's just difficult for me to even fathom.
Look, it comes down to people again. Some people like change, other people don't like change, and change inherently is something good. It doesn't mean that all the changes are good and how you apply changes, but if change is bad in your frame of mind, then you might run into trouble in the future.
So Raoul, I mean, you've had this amazing career in technology and certainly applying it to various industries. Tell me what excites you the most about what you do.
Enabling people. Sometimes people come and they have their problems, and their problems is their world. They come out with their problem. Listen, we have this process. How can we achieve this? And you sit at the meeting table and they come up with their issues which they have. And in my mind, I listen to them and I start to see solutions. And all of a sudden, those solutions, they start to click together like puzzle pieces. And in the end, you have like a roadmap how technology can often, not always, but often support them in making their lives easier, respectively in giving them time to start using their brain and just doing like repetitive tasks. And then when you present this afterwards, you see all the people going like, hey, that's cool. That's actually interesting. And the dynamics in these kind of meetings are very satisfying, because all of a sudden you had from something which is a problem, immediately you switch to a solution kind of frame of mind. And that is a cool feeling, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's a great way to think about how you can kind of utilize technology to free the ways that we perhaps were restricting ourselves in the past. Well, Raoul, here we are, 2023, another year full of new challenges and new opportunities. Tell me what you're seeing this year and what you're planning on evolving and pushing forward.
I think partially, what are we trying to push forward? Difficult to say. There are many avenues which we are going forward. I think one of the things is nowadays that you have the processes and you have the engines which can drive the processes, and now you need to connect those process engines with the IT side, and Microsoft likes to use those, how they're called, citizen developers. So I think this is a very interesting kind of development where you see power users or users which in affinity change their role and implement applications and implement IT specific things in their daily lives without using IT and normal traditional development resources. I think this is something which is going to change in the next 1, 2, 3 years, how we are advancing faster and faster and faster. Having said that, the difficulty is that you still have issues like security, you still have issues, document retention, security labelings, what kind of information, whom can handle. So this is going to be a challenge again from the IT side to see all those cool ideas that people come up with, cool implementations that people come up with, but you still have to put this in a framework which works for the company, and which my auditors at the end of the year every time come and want to see, like, what have you been doing, and have you been doing this the right way?
Yeah. Yeah. Are there specific technology movements, let's say blockchain or machine learning, that you're seeing some real opportunity with?
Blockchain, certainly. I see in the digital contract side. I see smart contract side. I see a lot of potential there. The problem is still our counterparts are not there yet. Often not there yet, and I think that sort of stops the development. Although the awareness would be here.
Yeah.
Personally, for us, AI, no, I don't see AI to be a game changer right now, because we are not in the kind of trading where you have machines making decisions. I think it might change the information gathering and information structuring process, but it's not a business critical side for this year, not for us.
Yeah, I can see that. It's always balancing out that human side with what's possible, and then making sure that it's structured to be safe, secure, and scalable. Raoul, it's been great talking with you. If someone wanted to learn more about what you and the team are up to at PMG Investment Solutions, where's the best place to reach you?
Either LinkedIn, our website. I think that's the best way to do. When our offices are in Zug, and we also have office in Zurich, so come pop by.
Well, I mean, you're living in literally one of the most beautiful parts of the world. So I think we're all a little bit jealous of the skiing opportunities that you have nearby. But Raoul, it's been amazing talking with you. You know, the challenges that face companies in the finance sector will continue to exist, but it does seem, what I'm hearing is that some of the changes that happened during the pandemic are going to start to kind of lock in, and maybe we'll inch forward on some of those key topics so that we can really, really scale over the next decade. Raoul, thank you so much for being on UNCAGED today, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you. Have a nice
Cheers.
day too. Cheers. Bye-bye.